Hi, welcome to the Heather Penny podcast. We're excited to have you here. We've got some great guests joining us, a lot of profound wisdom and insight that I think you're going to learn a lot, because I know we get to learn from one another and we just get to join our collective wisdom together and move out into this world so that we can get more clarity, more confidence, and more courage. More importantly, so that you can step into the life that only you are made for. So let's dive in. Welcome, Stephanie. I'm so happy to have you to the Heather Penny podcast show. We got to meet under some fun circumstances. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit of how you got to meet me?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I have read a lot of Bob Goff books, and I'm probably a Bob Goff fangirl. And I got an email that said he was having a workshop at his Oaks Retreat Center. And I thought, I'd like to go. It was about being a speaker. I like speaking. So I had just spoken to a group and I thought, I'm going to go. And I'm going to act like I'm really interested in being a speaker. I really just wanted to meet Bob Goff. And it was such a surprise because there were only 29 people. You were one of the very first people I talked to. And I have to say, I came away thinking, Bob's great, but the people I met were so interesting. Yes. And it really started this kind of new journey for me, which I never would have expected. I just went there with the book for him to sign.
And boy, did it unfold from there, didn't it?
It really did. And it's very exciting. And I think that it's kind of what we're talking about today.
Oh, cool. Well, Stephanie and I had so much fun because she called me a couple days ago, or I think it was a couple days ago. I was on your podcast. So
that's right.
And then we had so much fun talking. I said, hey, Stephanie, will you be on my podcast? And this is where I want to introduce our topic to our listeners. The reason that I asked Stephanie on was because I have just written a book on clarity, confidence, courage. It's called The Life You're Made For, and I am very excited about it. And so Stephanie had me on to interview me about my book. And I said a really interesting phrase that got both of us talking. And it was this idea of, hey, we're not just aging, Stephanie. We are saging, aren't we?
Aging. And I said, whoa, I'm stealing that from you. That is so good.
So tell us a little bit of why that really resonated with you.
The reason it resonated is because I'll be honest, I'm 58 years old in a couple of days. And I had a first career, out of college, 10 years corporate career, quit to have kids, had a second career, kind of an unexpected thing, started a hobby, started a cause. I was trying to teach people how to buy food for charity using grocery coupons, because I'm one of those people you wouldn't want to get behind in the grocery store line, the gal with the stack of coupons. Anyway, that actually turned into this wonderful 20-year career called, Coupon Mom. And we reached millions of people to help their families save money on groceries. It was my favorite topic. It was a hobby, and it ended up being this fabulous thing. So 3 years ago, I decided to retire. The website's still running. We still have people who run it, but I retired as the full-time office job. And that's pretty good, right? Retiring at 55, and now we can just travel, and we did everything. We bought an RV, we went on a cruise, we did all that stuff for about a year and a half. And I felt like, is this the rest of my life? It's a wonderful life. It's a wonderful life. But what I really learned was leisure is fun when it's a vacation or when it's special. But if you don't have a purpose, a project, something that makes you feel really productive, you are probably going to age a lot faster.
Wow.
I think so. I started volunteering. There's volunteering I love. But when I went to Bob Goff's workshop, I came away feeling like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I'm not done. Bob actually told me, you're not done. You don't have to be done. And my feeling was I should just be so thankful. I had this wonderful bonus 20-year career. Who am I to come? No. And then now I'm on fire. Now I'm talking to people like you, and I'm thinking, clarity and confidence and courage. And I want to jump out of the airplane with the parachute. And there's so much that can be done, especially when you're in a position where you are retired and, we do have some money saved. And what kinds of things could you do?
Yes.
There's lots of things we can do. So
Oh, I love it. I love it because I can hear you getting on fire. And I want to just say, I think there's a message out there for us aging. And I want to say maybe even more for us women sometimes, right? Aging's bad. You're getting slower. You're getting more wrinkly. Fill in the blank, right? We're just told message after message, and you don't even realize how much it's inundating you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that I'm hearing you shift is saying, wait a minute, I'm not done. Wait a minute. I'm saging. I'm not aging. And they think that's where I'm calling out this middle age and beyond, because I think we start even use the term, we're over the hill. We're kind of now coasting downward.
Right.
And
I was 9.
Right. Yeah. What are some of the messages you feel like you've heard that have been so derogatory toward aging?
As women, look at appearance. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. People don't say, did you get Botox? They say, where do you get your Botox? Oh, do you know they actually have a National Botox Month?
No.
Anyway, I digress. I'm not criticizing Botox. Okay. I'm not.
Yeah. But you'd like to live for a little bit more then, didn't you?
You have to live for a little bit more. And with aging, we have to accept certain things. For example, I was a runner my entire life. About 4 years ago, just, injuries, and come on, our bodies get worn out. So I just shifted. I shifted to that Peloton bike. I absolutely love it. I thought I was going to hate not running, and it ended up that's easier on our body, but you can still exercise, I guess is my point. There's always an alternative. And I remember years ago, Heather, I was with a friend and her mother. And I thought the mother was so old. In retrospect, I realized she was 50. Okay, I'm 58, but
it's super young now.
yeah, super young. And we were in our 20s, and we were just chatting with the mom. And I just asked her the question, what was your favorite age you ever were? And I actually thought she would say her 20s, right? Because that's when and she said, oh my gosh, the age I am right now. And I said, you wouldn't want to be in your 20s? And she said, and I've never forgotten this, and she hit the nail on the head. She said, I would never trade how I feel about myself and my life now with those years of insecurity in my 20s.
Yep.
So, when I look back, if I could talk to my younger self, I would say, especially, I'm 30 years later, so I can appreciate this, but don't worry so much. Don't question yourself so much. Don't compare yourself to others so much. Sandra Stanley, Andy Stanley's wife, has a phrase I love. Like, if God was looking at you, God would say, you're fine because you're mine.
Oh, I love it.
If we could just really, in our 20s, if we could get to the place of how we feel now, which is like, I'm kind of fully baked. Yeah, I'm working on stuff, but it's not filled with those insecurities. There's this confidence. Yeah. Like, God has a purpose for our life, and he created us, and he loves us, and he knows us. And why am I questioning what he created?
Right. Right. Oh, and I love it.
I would much rather have a few wrinkles and have that perspective than, and in my 20s, I can remember we actually quoted Glamour Magazine. Glamour Magazine was our Bible. You remember the fashion do's and don'ts? Am I dating myself here? Yeah.
I remember those. Even Teen Magazine, we were always taking those quizzes, thinking we were going to find the perfect spouse or the perfect boyfriend at the time.
They were so deep. Now I feel sorry for the young gals. They're so inundated with stuff. I hope I don't offend anyone. They're like The Bachelor. Yeah, that's what life is.
Yeah, yeah. But there's so much more, isn't it? So as you're moving into this saging, and I can hear you getting on fire, and I think that's why we had so much fun talking, because when you don't have those things holding you back, those insecurities, those fears, your identity feels a little unstable. You don't have anything that holding you back. And you have that combined with a passion. Isn't this the fun season of life?
Exactly. Well, Heather, exactly.
Yeah.
And so as I said, I still have my Coupon Mom website. I still have this email newsletter. I realized I have a little bit of a platform. I had my unbelievable, dream come true. All right. Yeah. And then I meet people. I call them, like, my podcast is, join us for conversations with inspiring people doing amazing things. And I look and I think, I wonder if that person needs a little boost. They're doing amazing things. Is there something that I can do? Like, I connected with an author. I just finished her book a few days ago. It was one of those books that kind of is a little bit life-changing, rocks your world. You're like, wow, this is amazing. I reached out to her. I asked if she'd come on my podcast. And as it turns out, she's doing these really cool things with women in Africa, fair trade. They're making jewelry. I have a website that reaches, thousands of people. And she said, could we promote their jewelry on your website? I'm like, absolutely, yes. And she said, we'll pay you a commission. I'm like, no, you're not paying me a commission. You want as much profit as possible to go to these women in Africa. But Heather, that's what is cool. It's like, finally, I'm at a position in my life. I don't need your commission. I actually do have a platform, and here's a great way to use it.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And that just kind of organically grew out of coupons. And now you're realizing, oh my word, this has got a huge reach. I'm looking into my passion, my purpose. I'm looking into the second half of my life when I've earned my stripes everywhere and I've earned every wrinkle and every gray hair, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. So, and when you think about over your life, how many people have lifted you up?
Yeah.
I'm working on a book and I have a chapter called Pivotal People. And I kind of drilled it down to, there were 4 individuals who, if they had not stepped into the story would not have happened. It would have ended. So there are lots of people who help you along the way, but these were pivotal people. And so I feel like I'm in a position in my life. Could I be a pivotal person for somebody? That gives me goosebumps. The idea of that. Could I be okay? So now I'm looking for people. That's what I'm doing. Like that author I told you about. I met you at a workshop. I'm going back to another workshop. There's so many people doing inspiring things. They inspire us, amazing things. They're trying to make a difference. And I know how they feel because 20 years ago at the beginning of my thing, I felt like that. It was this crazy concept. I was just a crazy lady. I had a big dream, but I had no money and I had no, extra time. I had 2 little kids, but there were enough people who kind of crowd surfed me that I did, I eventually went on the Oprah Winfrey show, which was
way to bury the lead, Stephanie.
Exactly.
This is the first time hearing of this.
And you know what? That was like 8 years into it because it was the recession. It was 2008 and they needed a grocery saving expert. And I was one of the few people who had been on TV doing it. They called me on a Wednesday night. Okay. I know it, but I'm going off on a tangent, but I answer my office phone. It's 8:30. Who's calling me at 8:30 p.m. on a Wednesday night? And the woman on the phone says, "This is Hillary. I am a producer with the Oprah Winfrey show." Oh my gosh, that still gives me and I just said in my head, I said, "Dear God, please let me say exactly what she wants to hear." 2 days later, they were at my house. We filmed a story, but that was,
oh my goodness.
Even though we were 8 years in, that little 6 minutes on that show, I don't even know how to describe it. It just changed everything.
Wow.
So I'm not Oprah Winfrey, but is there a way so I do believe that I have the time, I have the resources, maybe a platform, maybe we'll grow this platform. I just would love to lift people up because I know how much it means on the other end.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Love that. When you talk about lifting people up, specifically, where do you want to lift them up?
Well, everyone has a dream. So when you talk to people and they have a dream, there's always a stumbling block. A stumbling block might be they've got a newsletter with 200 people. Well, I have one with 50,000. Okay. Maybe they don't have a website. Maybe they don't have money. Okay. And so I'm really praying to be open to discovering these possibilities. I'm going back to another workshop at Bob's Oak Center. I know I'm going to meet people. I mean, there were so much. Do you remember how many people were on fire for their dreams at that workshop?
I do remember that. And I remember thinking the same thing. I'm like, I love Bob, but wow, the people that are attracted to Bob, which is beginning to hit me. That's what we get to do is we sage. I mean, how cool is that? And we used to just think, oh, it's everybody else, right? Everybody else that we get to be influenced by. They're the cool ones. They're the ones that are really changing my life. And all of a sudden it's dawning on me. I'm 51. We are becoming those people. We've got to step it up and we got to really own our saging and not our aging and sit there, keep, counting our wrinkles or our gray hair or whatever the 5 pounds we're putting on. let's start really owning the fact that we're saging and start owning that purpose to help be a pivotal voice in someone's life. I think that's what I'm really excited to get people on fire about.
Yeah, I love that. And when you think about where you were at the beginning of your journey, I mean, look how many, look, when you're at the beginning of a journey, you were so full of big ideas.
Yeah.
But you just, are probably under-resourced. Most people are under-resourced.
Yeah. And experiencing lots of failures, rejections, confusion, right?
Right.
Just on and on because we're trying to fumble through it for the first time.
That's right. And even can you remember at the beginning, people who just, maybe they didn't give you any money, they didn't have, but they encouraged you?
Yes.
Do you remember the people who encouraged you? And
yeah.
The things they said, I can remember one sentence someone would say to me, which I have not forgotten in 20 years, and they have no idea the impact of that one encouraging sentence.
Do you remember what it was?
Yes, I do.
Do you want to share it?
Yeah. One man, I'd been bringing food to charity because I bought all this food for charity with coupons, and I brought it every day, and I was teaching the other volunteers how to do it. And there was an elderly man at the charity, and he came up to me and he said in a very quiet voice, "Stephanie, you are an angel. Wow. Thank you for what you're doing." And he hugged me. You know what? I'm not an angel, but that sweet man gave me such encouragement that day.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this matters. I'm just one person bringing food every day, but this nice man noticed it.
Yes.
And he made me feel like it mattered, even though it was a small thing, in the big picture is a small thing. It was a huge thing to me, and he could see it was a huge thing to me. So anyway, it doesn't have to, it's little things we say to people can really spur them on.
Oh, I just love that. And you don't even know when they need to hear it, right? You maybe were just kind of thinking through, oh, I'm just doing what I feel like I want to do. And it's just easy for me. I had no idea it's influencing someone and becoming that. I love your phrase, a pivotal moment. And I have one I'm thinking of in my mind where it wasn't too long ago. It was probably about 6 months ago. I had worked with a young woman, and I remember we'd gone out to dinner. We were just having a great time. And I enjoyed my time with her. I just didn't realize what I had done in her life. And she gets up and we go to hug each other, say goodbye. And she whispers in my ear, "You have no idea how much you changed my life." And I was like, "No, I don't." And I don't know if I handled it well, but I was so shocked because I was just doing what I love and showing up on the phone with her once a week for a couple months. And I had no idea that I changed her life. And I had no idea that I was that influential. And I kind of made a joke. I go, "Oh, maybe I should write a book." I don't know if I handled it well. Which I did. But I was like, I still think about that. And I go, I didn't know I was a pivotal person. I just was kind of skipping along, starting my coaching company and beginning to realize I have almost this wake behind me. And I need to be aware of that and look back, because I am now moving into an arena where I looked at other people thinking, oh, they're the mentors. Oh, they're the developers. Oh, they're the teachers. And Stephanie, we're becoming those people.
We're actually the grown-ups. I hate to tell you. It's like when it really hit me, no, we're the grown-ups.
We're the grown-ups. We can't go on the downward slide or with the downhill yet. We got to stay fired up because we got to be able to give back and really be a pivotal person. Not that that's our goal. Not that it's our goal to kind of have this ego thing to say we're going to be out there and just be the best with everybody, but we are definitely wanting to step into it and say anything we can do to be coming along in that moment to support you when you need it. Lucky me, lucky us, right?
That's right. Lucky us. And it's really paying attention. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, you talked about this one person said this to you. Well, everybody, you don't have to, everyone in their lives has a wake of people behind them, of lives they're impacting. And they don't realize it. My father said to me years and years ago, I would get emails from people when I had the website. That would make me cry. I would cry at a Hallmark commercial. But anyway, I would get these emails, and just a single email could really inspire me for a long time. And I said, I told my father that, and he said, God gives you glimpses of encouragement like that, but you could never possibly handle knowing all of it. You couldn't handle knowing that wake of people whose lives you've impacted. But sometimes you get a little bit of a reminder because we need to keep doing it. And so much of it is just paying attention. And I think that's why I wanted to meet Bob Goff so much. I mean, in reading his books, he's taught me so much about pay attention, take the time, don't miss who's right next to you or who you might bump into. Take, more than a couple of minutes to talk to someone because you'll just discover something wonderful. And one thing about being, older and being retired is I have a lot more time to do that. You know what? I always had the time. When I was busy, I still had those extra couple minutes. I just wasn't taking it. We all have those extra, but yeah, it's like letting the person in front of you in traffic. I always let them in now. Where am I going?
Yes, I could take a beat. I could take an extra 5 seconds. Well, I'm so glad you took the time with me because you reached out and then we had this fun connection. And then I got to hear about what you got to accomplish and I got inspired. It's just amazing what little seeds we start. We have no idea how they're going to be watered, whether it's in a company or a business, an entrepreneur project, or whether it's actually in a relationship or working with people or dropping off coupons or dropping off food. And in my case, I coach and I work with people. I don't know who I'm influencing, sometimes who I'm not, but some people will come back to me just even years later and say, when you said that comment, I thought, my goodness, I cannot be worried about aging. I have to really be focusing on the saging because that will take us out of the game, won't it?
Right. And it's really wisdom, right?
Yeah.
So maturity and wisdom, which sadly, you can't snap your fingers and get it in your 20s. You try. I mean, it does take years. I always remind myself of this. I have 2 sons in their 20s. I wish I could get this in their head. I'm like, gosh, it took me 30 years to figure it out.
You're so right.
But honestly, I mean, I wouldn't, there are some people who have aged better than I have in terms of the whole wrinkles thing, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And, like everything, as you mature, you get less self-focused, ideally. And more others, ideally.
Yes.
More others focused. And the more others focused we get, and my gosh, look at Mother Teresa. Did she worry about wrinkles? No, she did not.
Exactly.
And do we all think she's wonderful? Of course we do.
Yes. So as we kind of wrap up here, I'm going to ask a question. I'll answer it first. So I'll buy you a little bit of time because I'm putting you on the spot, Stephanie. But when I'm thinking about saging, and I'll be honest, we all have our dark moments where we're like, darn it, how many gray hairs do I have to have? How many wrinkles are, I'm not going to lie to you. I have my vanity at times myself.
Absolutely.
But, something that keeps pulling me forward to focus on saging versus aging is really this idea of staying curious in life, staying curious about what I don't know, staying curious with people, staying curious with even my husband that I've known for 28 years. There's still stuff that I get to learn and kind of grow with him. Staying curious about my kids, staying curious about where I get to develop and grow as a coach in my company, where it's going to take me, the people. All of this is something that I realize I'm reaching for that really cultivates this idea of saging versus aging. So what cultivates saging for you?
Well, for me, it is the freedom of not having to worry. Like I said to you, I don't have to worry about if my thing makes any money. I don't have to make any money. And the freedom of, I'm not going to worry about what they think about me.
Yeah.
The stuff I used to worry, but the stuff that used to suck the energy out of your cause. Now, to me, I honestly feel, and I know this is crazy, but Bob Goff does this to you. I had 2 really exciting careers, but I honestly feel like I'm on the brink of an even better one.
Oh, how exciting.
Whatever this is, we're, we don't even have a name for it yet. Coupon Mom and Friends. It's this whole idea of seeking out people and seeing how we can connect, how we can learn from each other, how we can lift each other up. So I'm so happy to have met you. And I was so, I got off our podcast call and I thought, oh my gosh, seriously, that's what a podcast is? I get to talk to interesting people for half an hour. Wow, this is great. Why didn't I discover this sooner? So I appreciate so much that you had me on yours and I am learning from you and I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, my fellow saging person. And we're going to commit to saging together. And I can't wait to see where you are in a year, because with that freedom, with this new passion, with resources, with nothing holding you back. I mean, I think you're going to have some fun and I'm really looking forward to kind of just saying, hey, Stephanie, what are you up to in 2022 or maybe even 2023? I want to just see where this all leads you, where it takes you.
And you too. I'm interested and excited for your book.
Oh.
Your book is going to be fabulous. I can't wait to send it to both my kids and for me to read it.
Oh, thank you, my friend. So for all my listeners, you can find my book at any of the big stores, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target. You can also just go straight to my website. It'll direct you to that. And on my website, heatherpenny.com, I've got lots of free stuff. I've got articles, blogs. You can also access my podcast from there as well. So thank you so much for joining us today, Stephanie. It's been a
Thanks
pleasure.
For having me. It's been great.
Goodbye. Take care, everyone. Keep saging, not aging.